Time. Let's start rolling solo. Hello, and welcome to Rolling Solo, the internet's one and only, at least as far as I know, Daggerheart based solo role playing actual play. I'm Paul, I'm your host. Um, I will be playing Daggerheart today and doing all the characters and all of the uh, uh, gameplay and everything. Um, so with that said, let's kind of get started. Let's talk about where we are so far in our campaign. We're playing Daggerheart. We're playing in the Witherwild campaign frame, which is one of the campaign frames that are available in the SRD. Um, this We are also playing a Witch and a Warlock, which are two test classes which are available on Daggerheart's Void website. Um, at daggerheart.com or something. Um, the story so far in the Witherwild, there are two basic areas in this campaign. There is the city of Haven, and then there's the surrounding lands of Fenwick. The city of Haven has, for reasons that were discussed in earlier episodes, invaded the land of Fenwick and converted a great deal of the land to bogs, or converted a great deal of the bogs to flowers beds, plantations, if you will, on which they are planting a particular flower. The In order to maximize production, they also raided the Fenwick, found a small god known as the Great Owl, and plucked out one of its eyes, because the Great Owl has a sowing eye and a reaping eye. And the sowing eye is what brings spring, and the reaping eye is what brings autumn. And hence winter, hence summer, etc. And by plucking out the sowing eye, they've created this infinite spring, so a constant growing season that has allowed them to produce many more of these flowers. This has, however, had the downside of causing a side effect known as the Witherwild. The Witherwild is a sickness, an effect. It's a thing. It has the effect of taking normal animals, normal plants, and growing them to immense sizes, to misshaping them, to making them more aggressive. So it's taken the Fenwick, which was a relatively peaceful place, and has created a much more dangerous terrain. In addition to that, with the constant spring and with the brand new and exciting plantation economy that the Havenites have brought, it's obviously has pushed people out of their homes, it has pushed people out of the place, their villages, and has taken people out of work. And so the roads, the paths, the ways through the forest are much more difficult and dangerous than they were prior to the invasion. So, with all that said, our heroes, Shade and Soot, we're in the town of Low Passage for a meeting. They took a meeting with one Simrock Unli, who is sort of a deputy spy master to the Havenites. They have heard, or it has been found out by Haven, that there is a mysterious figure known as the Fainwraith, who has a plan to pluck out the Great Owl's sowing eye, thus ending the eternal spring. Now, no one has really thought through the consequences of having neither a sowing eye nor a reaping eye, and it's not clear that this is going to be any better than the situation as we have it. It will end the Havenites' infinite growing season, which is good, And it might end the Withered Wild, but it might create something worse. No one knows. So the Soot and Shade, who are twin jackalopes, um, well, humanoid jackalopes, but you get the idea. Um, uh, Shade, she is a warlock. Soot, he is a witch. The two of them took the job to go and search out the Fainwraith and report back to Simrock when they had found out where the Fainwraith was. Fainwraith happened to be in their hometown of Alula. We have met the Fainwraith. The Fainwraith, not fully trusting these two new recruits, has placed them in the company of Tice, a fairy of uncertain gender who is currently sort of following them around and making sure that they don't do what they intend to do, which is to report the location of the Fainwraith, or the fact that the Fainwraith is on the move, because the Fainwraith has found the great owl and intends to go forth, hunt it down, and pluck out its eye. That is our story so far. Okay, so with that was a lot of backstory, but it got the job done. With that, let's start today's episode. Ordinarily, I would have done, if this were a multi-person campaign, a certain amount of prep. But of course, I have done no prep at all because this is solo and I need to surprise myself as much as I surprise you. And so the first surprise is, where are we going to start? What is going to be our inciting incident to kind of start this sort of thing? Let's see. So I'm going to break out my plot sheet here and look at what some of our plot possibilities are. And we're going to open the scene the day after, or possibly some days after, Shade and Soot have met with the Fainwraith. The Fainwraith was planning on starting out at dawn, although dawn is not at dawn, but at like 5 bells, because there is no dawn on a daily basis in the land of Fenwick. The days and nights on this world are 7 of our days and nights long, and so the peoples and some animals are used to living several sleep cycles over the course of a day and over the course of a night. And so it's nighttime right now, and so it is dark as we are walking through the forest. There's a group of about 10 different people of various species who are walking along. One of them is the Fainwraith, human female ranger, who is doing most of the tracking. She seems to be in the lead and kind of following these forest paths, and everyone else is kind of going with her. And there's some quietness to the scene. Tice is flying up by her shoulder. Shade and Soot are about midway back in this group of 10 people, kind of walking through, and she is going to call for a halt. So, in our opening scene, this group of sentients, of many ancestries, stops in a clearing and kind of spreads out to take what would be, to take a bit of a mid-morning break. I believe we are working our way into confrontation here. So we're going to propose, so this is a moment where we're going to have Shade and Soot again try to kind of get some time to themselves and to have some conversation. So let's propose that as a scene beat, this conversation. Let's add something to it. Let's cause confusion, doubts, and disarray. How are we going to do this? We're going to cause confusion, doubts, and disarray. This pleasant picnic is going to get attacked. And again, by, we're just going to say, a group of acid burrowers. Just like the place that they have decided to camp, they didn't check closely enough. And we're going to pop up some acid burrowers. Why acid burrowers? Because way back in a few episodes back, we had Shade and Soot up against one acid burrower back when they were tier 1, and they got absolutely mowed down. And I want to see what happens if they get into a battle with an acid burrower as tier 3, which is where they're at now, level 5, and see if they still get mowed down, or if Witch and Warlock are a match for an acid burrower at this point in their careers. So that is the that is what we're going to run. So we're just going to jump right into combat. And I have been signed out of Demiplane, and so I don't have the access that I want. Okay. So, first things first, I also have a ton of fear to spend, and I just want to spend some. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a fear to have this burrower get the jump on them. And let's go ahead and make some notes about what we have to do to destroy an acid burrower. They have hit points 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have a stress of 3. They're an attack plus 3. And they do 1d12. Let's make this a tier 2 acid burrower, and let's have them do 2d12 plus 4 damage, just to make things a little bit more fair. So we have a tier 2 solo up against our 2 players, and the solo is going to go first. So the first thing that happens is, without anyone having any time to take a reaction or make a move, and I gave myself a non-combat loadout at the beginning because I didn't know I was going to do this, so that's great. Acid Burrower is going to take an attack on evens is soot, odds is shade. Odds is shade. Going to take an attack at shade. It rushes in. That's an 11 plus 3 is 14. That will definitely hit. So let me get my character sheets out here. Shade. Let's see. 14. Yeah, that hits. That will do a hit. And the Acid Burrower will do 2d12 of damage. Just right off the bat. Let me find some d12s here. That's a d12. That's a d12. Damn. 22. 22 plus 4 is 26 on shade. That is severe damage. She will mark an armor. That's soot. This is shade. Shade will mark an armor. To make that only 2 hit points. They're going to get massacred. Why did I make this a tier 2 Acid Burrower? What was my thinking? We'll go again. Again, attacking at Shade. That's a 16. That's a 20. That'll hit. Again. Okay, that's 4 plus 4 is 8 damage. That is minor. She will mark an armor to take no damage. I have to spend a fear to activate that relentless. I'm going to sit on my fear at the moment. Technically, I should have marked a stress when I had the Acid Burrower attack them. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to have them take agility reaction rolls to see if they were vulnerable. And if they were, then I'm going to give the Acid Burrower advantage and see if it crits on either of those 2 hits. So this is an agility roll. This is a difficulty. We'll amp this guy up to 16 because he's tier 2. So instead of 14, this is difficulty 16. Agility. That makes it. That's 18, so that's Soot. Shade. Does not make it on that 4, plus nothing she has would do anything with that. So that's not a 20. That's not a 20. That will do for now, for the Acid Burrower. And I'm holding off a little bit because I wanted to have multiple attacks later. It'll attack Soot again. Or Shade again. This time at advantage. That's a 5 on one. The 19 on another. This is a withered creature. I need to check a rule real quick. No, 19 or 20, that's Age of Umbra. Never mind. So that's a 19, that'll hit. That'll do 14, 18 damage. That is on Shade. That is major damage. She will mark the 3rd armor slot. And take 1 hit point. So Minor damage. I have marked one too many hit points. No, 1, 2, 1, 1. Right. That one was minor damage, marked in armor. She should take nothing. So she's only taken 3 hit points of damage so far. So Shade has taken 3 hit points. She is now going to make her move. And let's see what she's got in her pocket. That is Shade. Let's find Soot's character stuff for Shades. Let's see what she got. One thing she's going to do is she's going to spend 1 stress to pull Shared Trauma out of her vault. Put it back in her loadout. And then she's going to remember for the future that she has Draining Invocation and can make things roll d12s instead of d20s for the attack roll if she spends a favor. That's something she needs to remember. Let's see. She's going to make a Blighting Strike. She's going to make a spellcast roll against the target. And if she succeeds, then its next damage is reduced by half. Okay, that definitely succeeds. That is an 18 plus stuff with Hope. Shade will gain a Hope. She will do D6, 3d6 of damage. Let me find some d6s here. That's a d6, that's a d6, that's a d6. 10, 12, just 12, 13 damage. 13 damage on this guy. This guy, it will be 13 damage, which his thresholds are... I have them at 8 and 15. I think they're more likely at tier 2 to be something like 10 and 18. So that 12 damage is still going to mark 2 hit points. So that does 2 damage to the Acid Burrower, and it has been blighted. Its next hit will do half damage. That will bring us out of Shade's turn. It is now Soot's turn. What will Soot do? Oh, did I remember to mark my stress? I did not. Let's mark a stress to pull that. Yeah, pull Shared Trauma out. We'll mark a stress. So now for Soot. What does Soot have available to him? Let's see. He is going to make a spellcast roll against a target within very close range and siphon their essence. Yeah, he's going to siphon the essence of this creature. He's going to make his attack. This is a spellcast roll. So for Soot, this is knowledge. He has +4 on this. I'm going to burn a hope. on extra cautious to get a +2. So this is rolling at +6. +6, that is a 12 and a 9. That's a 20-something blah, blah, blah with hope. So that definitely hits. And it does. And for long rest, the target takes d20 magic damage using your proficiency. So this is going to do 3 d20 of damage. Balls. 1. Is that a 3? That was a 3. 4. 15. 19. So 19 points of damage to the creature, which will go above its severe threshold, however. 1, 2, 3. And it's still with us, except it's not, because I'm going to spend a fever. And this guy is going to go after odds or soot, evens or shade. Soot. Going to go after soot, and it's going to attack him with spit action. It's going. Oh no! It's going to make an attack against both of them. It's going to make an attack against all targets in front of the burrower within close range. Targets the burrower succeeds against take 2d6 physical damage, and must mark an armor slot. So that's what it is going to do. However, before it does that, Shade they are within very close range, because it was attacking them with its claws, which is a very close range attack. So it is currently within very close range. I can spend a favor to make them use a d12 instead of a d20 for this attack. Jade is definitely going to do that. She's going to spend one of her favor. There we go. And so this attack will be made with a d12. That's a 5. I think we said he's +3, so that's 8. So that misses both of them. So first thing that happens is the monster, this hideous, insectal, 8-legged, gigantic insect. This is a withered creature. It is normally about yay long, but it is currently about the size of a horse. It is reared out of the ground. It has slashed into Shade 3 times, and then the twins have fought back with magic, firing spells, using their innate powers, flashes of light bouncing off of the carapace of this gigantic creature, and then it rears back and sprays acid everywhere, but the twins leap back, managing to avoid getting hit. Then because it just took severe damage, we're going to real quick take a quick moment to retcon something. We're going to roll a d10 for 9 damage, which Soot and Shade both take 9 damage. Which they will... Shade's just going to take it. Soot is just going to take it. It's minor damage for both of them. They're just going to go ahead and take that damage. And that was its reaction. Now it's spent its acid bath. Now it's going to attack again. It's going to be attacking Soot. Shade is going to spend another favor. That is a 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, which just hits Soot. And he will take 2d12 of damage. So it is now, it sprays a bunch of acid, then comes slamming down, and strikes with one of its claws at Soot. He will take 2d12 of damage. Here's a d12. Here's a d12. That is a 4 and a 5 is 9. Plus 4 is 13. Minor damage. He will spend a... He will spend an armor slot to not take any damage. It makes one more attack on him. Shade will again spend a third favor to get this attack down to a d12 attack. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That misses, and play returns to the players. So Shade is going to stay put because moving through the area here, the area is covered with blood. Any creature other than the burrower who moves through it will take 1d6 physical damage. So rather than moving through this ground at the moment, Shade is going to go ahead and make... Oh! Doesn't matter. It was not enough damage to matter, but it should have been 4 damage because it was blighted. She is going to... make a spellcast reaction roll off of that last attack. This is a difficulty 16 with her plus 3 in presence. So this is a difficulty 16, so this is rolling at plus 3. She does not make the reaction roll. Hideous Retribution does not take effect. So she attempts to, as it strikes into Soot, she attempts to fires off a spell in reaction to that attack, but it bounces off the carapace and does no good. Then she moves in again to stand kind of, she's going to spend a hope on here to use her protective experience as she attempts to get its attention. It's been attacking her brother, so she's like, hey, over here. Over here, you damn beast! And again, shoots off another strike. Another blighting strike. Okay, so that's a 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 with hope. Get our hope back. Mark that. She does 3d6 damage. Uh, 10 damage to the acid burrower. So Jade steps forward, gets its attention, calls out, and again, conjures, ball of green flame in her hand and hurls it at the creature, striking it for 2 points of damage and keeping the momentum with them. And we've been focusing on this one battle, but before Soot takes his turn, we're going to take kind of a camera pan, and what we'll notice is that an entire nest of burrowers has popped up under the ground and is attacking this entire party. So this creature is, there's one on Shade and Soot, but the ground is covered in acid. People are screaming. There's a lot of noise and confusion happening all around us as Soot steps up to take his final shot. He will again use Siphon Essence. Nope, that's once per long rest. He will use his standard attack. So he uses his Great Staff, which is going to be let's see, +4 to hit. And he is going to take his strike. And he will crit. So that is going to be 18 damage right off the top, which will again be major damage to the Acid Burrower. He only has 1 hit point left. However, then I'll say that, well, no, but this is a major hit. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. All creatures within close range are bathed in their acidic blood, taking 6 points of damage. So both Shade and Soot will mark an additional hit point. But the Acid Burrower is defeated. They move quickly out of the area, taking an additional 3 hit points of damage, which Shade is going to mark an armor to avoid. Soot is just going to eat. And that does that for the Acid Burrower. So that answers one question, which is how would we do at this level versus our slightly more advanced Acid Burrower? And the answer is not great. Soot just took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Took 5 hit points, burned 3 stress. Soot came through it much better, only doing 3 hit points and taking 1 armor slot, but he did. But Shade also burned all 4 of her armor slots and 3 favors. So this wasn't free for our characters. Soot will mark a stress. Sorry, I should have read that out loud, you guys. Spectral Mist. Mark a stress to summon an eerie mist that turns you and any targets within close range momentarily incorporeal. While a creature is incorporeal, they can move through solid objects and are immune to physical damage. A creature becomes corporeal again after they pass through a solid object or make an action roll. Otherwise, this effect drops at the end of the scene. So, he is going to... gesture to Shade. Shade will spend a hope. This allows her to read the surface thoughts of a creature within far range using Thought Delver. She is looking at him and reading his mind, and he's like, I'm going to turn us into mist. It will disappear. She nods. He spends the... I believe it's a hope. No, it's marking a stress, which I've already marked, I believe. Let's mark it anyway. I think I just did. I did. He marks his stress. They both turn incorporeal. They drift away from this battle. As the scene is completing, you see, like, the Fainwraith steps forward with, with her... takes her longbow and turns to a creature that, one of the acid burrowers is rearing up to spray all of them with acid. And, you see her take that shot and, it goes right into the creature's mouth through the back of its skull, and it collapses down onto the ground dead. And, that is kind of the end of that battle. But when they look around, Soot and Shade have disappeared into the forest. And we enter our next scene. We go to our next scene with Soot and Shade kind of coming back into being. They've kind of misted along the ground, and they come up to a point where you see these twin mists circle this tree, and the two of them kind of appear on a branch. These two, it's odd seeing jackrabbits in trees, but here they are, both kind of crouching on a branch with their digitigrade legs, their pronghorn horns, their floppy ears, looking bloody and tired. And the first thing that Shade will do is she will share her trauma. What does that mean? That means that she has 5 hit points marked. Soot has 3. She's just going to balance that out. She's going to go ahead and take 1 hit point off of her and pass it over to him, so they both have 4. And that went really well, because I also rolled with hope a lot. I think that helped a lot in that battle. So Shade turns to... What are you thinking? I'm thinking they didn't trust us. And I'm thinking we needed to slip away. It seemed like the right time. We'll see if they try to find us, or if they just consider us lost. But I say we wait here for a bit and see what happens. Aye, and then what? That I don't know. I don't know that I want to warn the Havenites. I don't know that we owe them much. We took their bag of gold, but, considering what they've done to our homeland, I'll take a bag of gold from them any day. But I'm not sure about this attack on the Great Owl. Maybe if we can follow them, we can get ahead and try to do something about this. So they're going to sit, and they're going to wait. The question is, Well, there's two questions. One is, where are my oracles? That'll be question number one. Here they are. Question number two that can be answered by asking, theoretically, the oracles, is, are they followed? Does the Fainwraith make a concerted effort? I mean, obviously, you know, in this clearing, you can see them, you know, counting heads and being like, what happened to these two? And looking around for them. The question is the Fainwraith going to do more than just call out for them and give them time to catch up? Does she want to find them badly enough to search? And this will be deterministic. So 1 through 10. Low numbers, no. High numbers, yes. 5. 5 is a weak no. She's going to make a search. We're going to give her a roll and see essentially if she gets like a 20. She does not. She gets the opposite of a 20 and gets a 1. So she does do some basic looking around after them, but after a while, we'll say, you know, well, that's it. I suppose they've run off, and we're better off without them. Let's move on. And that group will, after taking a short rest, move on. Our heroes will also take a short rest. And so let's go through our short rest moves. What shall we do? Well, they are... so the Lagomorph is an ancestry, these jackrabbit creatures, these jackalopes that we've created here, is a custom ancestry that combines fawn and elf. And so they have the Caprine leap from the fawn, so they can leap anywhere within close range, but they also have the elf's celestial trance feat. And so they're able to take drop into a trance to take an additional move, which is what they will do this time. So first, Soot will roll, and let's just make sure we get our rest rules correct. It's been a minute since I took a rest. So we'll go with our downtime actions. So each of them can clear. First thing they do is tend to each other's wounds. So this involves a certain amount of, you know, they're probably going to eventually climb down from this tree and then spend some time bandaging, wrapping, cleaning, helping each other out as they try to take care of each other. So they get to go with a D4 plus their tier, which, since their tier is 3, I don't even have to really roll for. They've each only got 4 hit points down, so they will each clear 4 hit points no matter what I roll. So that'll be 4 hit points off for Soot, and 4 hit points cleared for Shade. Shade is going to spend some effort to repair her armor. Again, that's a D4 plus tier. Tier is 3, so no matter what she rolls, she will repair all of her armor on a short rest. Soot, for his second move, is going to clear his stress. He's So he has 3 stress, so he'll go ahead and clear that on the short rest. Shade now has a choice to make. Shade has a choice to make. She can either take favor or she can clear stress. Favor is super helpful, and she has 4 stress left, so she's going to make a tithe to her patron. And the reason we had a little pause there, and I apologize for the dead air, but I was trying to think of what is it that she can do to tithe to her patron, the patron of silence and pain. So we could say that, you know, her stoicism in having her wounds tended to, despite the pain that inflicted, would be a means of making this tithe. I've also had her sacrifice or silence animals, insects in particular, just to keep their wings from buzzing, even though that, you know, tends to you know, so I've had her create pain, I've had her endure pain. I think in this case, it's just her endurance of pain as she's being tended to, and, you know, clearing acid out of her fur and things like that, and, you know, kind of trying to bandage these deep gashes she's got. Is her stoicism within that, and is going to count as her tithe to her patron. And with that, she will gain favor equal to her presence. Her presence is 3. So she will gain 3 favor. Okay. And with that, we begin our next phase of this day. So they rest up, the group in the clearing rests up, and the group in the clearing moves out. Soot is a gifted tracker. So he is going to allow them to they're going to sit back out of sight of the group, kind of let them move on, and then start following them, which at first is easy because they're on trail. But, you know, there might be times where the trails go cold, where they move off trail, and he has to be looking for footprints and so forth, making sure he doesn't miss them at forks. These are game trails, they go everywhere. So he will simply spend a hope to ask the GM, me, which way did they go? And I will say, that way, because that's the way they went. And so Soot and Shade will follow them, and even through the dark, remember it's nighttime constantly as all of this is happening, but there are, you know, there's light from there's some moonlight, there's also in the underbrush and on the trees there are bioluminescent flowers and plants that provide a dim light through the forest throughout parts of the nighttime, as they're on their own little light up schedule. So, well, that's almost an hour. So Soot and Shade we will open with them following the Fainwraith having moved out from underneath her notice. Well, that's it for Rolling Solo today. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, by the time I get this out onto YouTube, I will have my Etsy shop back in shape. If I do, that's the address here. Um, and uh, other than that, thank you very much for watching. And hey, keep rolling, y'all.